Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jake, this is Nadia, Buddy, Sedona, and Babu are all hanging out downstairs right now. Today, we're talking about The Departed. So why are we talking about The Departed?
Well, because you've been wanting me to watch it for a while.
You've never seen it.
Never seen it.
She has a thing against gangster movies, and
I just feel like they're so repetitive after a certain part that... By the way, this is going to be an all-spoiler review, so if you haven't watched it, then...
Yeah, all spoilers
first,
for Departed. Yeah, please, if you haven't seen it, I mean...
Unless you want to be spoiled.
Came out in like 2006, I think, but... Okay, so Godfather, you haven't seen.
No.
Goodfellas, you haven't seen.
No.
All right, so we have a ways to go.
He's putting me, like, he's slowly checking off the list for me.
I'm putting you on the spot by talking about this in front of our viewers.
Shaming me.
Publicly shaming
me. So I was kind of resistant to watch The Departed for a while because I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch another gangster movie because, you know, like I said, a lot of them seem to be very similar to me. But...
Well, first, before you say but, let's mention our Patreon.
Oh, yes.
Because we've been doing extra reviews on Patreon, exactly the same format as this, just on our The Man Carrying Thing Patreon. We're talking about older movies that, you know, aren't relevant to today, but that we want to talk about anyways. Right now, we have Raising Arizona up. We have Manhunter, Michael Mann's Manhunter up there. So we're just going to keep putting those up there consistently if you want to check out. $2 a month for access on Man Carrying Thing Patreon for those videos along with other bonus content. So yeah, that's my sales pitch. All right, so tell me, what did you think of The Departed?
Well, I really was wrong about The Departed. It was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. It was so funny. I really love Jack Nicholson. He's so funny, and he's retired now and scary. He's such a good actor, and it's, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon. I thought their characters were very interesting to watch. When I found out that these two are going to be stars of the film, I thought that maybe they would have like some kind of unity in the film, like they're like brothers or best friends or whatever else, you know. You kind of see a lot of gangster type movies where they're like all in a team and something happens and there's like a brotherly rift kind of thing. No, it was completely different, which is what was really nice for me to see and watch. And so many funny dialogues, like so many good moments. I loved it. I would give it like 9 out of 10.
Hey.
It was a really good film, and
awesome.
I'm actually it makes me want to watch more movies that you suggested, such as Godfather.
Well, Godfather, you know, Godfather isn't as funny as this, I would say, but
well, I really like gangster movies like this because it was very different.
Well, it's a thriller. It's a real cops and robbers type of cat and mouse game.
Yeah, and you know, the best thing about doing spoiler reviews is I can just say right now, like, the surprising part, because I would have
You were getting so anxious because near the end she was going, I need to look up how it ends. I'm so scared. I can't handle it.
I'm pregnant. I need positive vibes.
But I cruelly didn't let you. And then what did you think of that big surprise?
Well, the big surprise is that they all die.
But you guessed that at some point. We were like, if Leo dies, I don't want to watch this. And I was just like...
Not because of the character, like him, the actor, but like the character that he was portraying was so good. And then Matt Damon was such a dickhead.
I know.
And so I was like, I really wanted Leonardo DiCaprio's character to get his revenge. I wanted him, like, you know, atoned. And it's just really funny because, you know, he dies. Like, it's exactly at the moment where he's like, Matt Damon's like, just kill me now.
I love that. That long pause in the elevator. He's like, just kill me.
Yeah. And then Leo's character goes, I'm killing you. But he meant like killing you as in like putting you to jail, like ruining your reputation, you know, and stuff. And as soon as the elevator door opens, poof, dead. It's like, no way. I'm like, is he pretending? There's no way that ends
Your
that
face
way.
was priceless.
Yeah, and it turns out there was another spy for Jack Nicholson.
Another rat in the cops that worked for Costello, I think.
Exactly, Costello. And then so they basically, Matt Damon ends up killing him as well and then taking credit. And it was just really interesting at the end how he wanted to honor Leo's character with a medal and just that outlandish, you know.
Yeah.
I like how it seems like everything's going well until the end where Matt Damon dies to it. He's like, he's just so done at that point. Like, he's like, yeah, okay, fine. I'm honestly tired of this shit. Like, just, if you want to shoot me, it's just like, you could tell that he's like having that vibe. And then, so, you know, it's just, it's interesting. And I really like Alec Baldwin's character too, where he's like, you know, people, you have a really clean record. People don't trust people with clean record. I have a clean record. I'm not like that. And so Alec Baldwin had complete blindness to, you know, Matt Damon.
Alec Baldwin has some of the best lines in this.
He does. It was definitely a movie of its times, with language and ideas and stuff. So yeah.
But I mean, that's part of the point too, is that these are all horrible people, you know, on every side.
It really, it's interesting the way that it shows police corruption in a very different sense. Like, it's just very accepted. It was really fun to watch. Very, very unique, in my opinion, portrayal of such dynamic that could have been oversimplified if the writing was different, if the directing was different, you know. And I really like the cinematography, the vibes of like the set design.
Well, you watch a Scorsese movie and it's just like, you suddenly realize like, holy shit, like, why aren't all movies look like this? Why don't all movies, why the camera is so dynamic, everything's like, it's just so expressive and so much energy in the editing, and it's just amazing because this is such a lot happens in this movie. There's so many moving parts, but it never feels convoluted, it never feels exhausting.
It doesn't. It's really interesting because that's what I mean. If the writing was like different, it could feel like too much happening way too soon. But no, it goes and flows really well. What I also liked about the police set design is it didn't look like boring, like CS, you know, just kind of like Law and Order or other things that you see, like kind of reusable set design. Aesthetically pleasing. I know that's kind of weird to say, but it made it where it was, you could see how Matt Damon's character was able to be deceitful, like when he's investigating.
Well, something I noticed about the set design of the police headquarters is that it's all glass everywhere. There's no like privacy. Everything's like, feels like it's out in the open. And I think that's part of like the kind of like anxiety of trying to hide in out in the open like that.
Well, that's the interesting part, is that even though everything's out in the open, it's actually not, you know, because like Matt Damon, when he texts from his like pocket, like a jacket pocket in one of the scenes about how they're being watched by the camera or there's a mole. I really liked how they didn't portray like Jack Nicholson's as sentimental person at all, even though he raised basically Matt Damon's character in a lot of ways. He had a background relationship with Leo's parents, uncle and father.
His dad and his uncle.
Yeah.
Jackie.
Like, he still suspected Leo as a rat, and so he, like, you know, kind of put him into a test that didn't work, because Leo's actually a lot smarter in this film. Also, how at the end, how he was willing to sell out Matt Damon's character and also the other mole within the police force that we later get to see. So it's just very much like he's not boggled down by anything sentimental, anything. He's just pure narcissistic and masked with humor. Some charm to give you a little bit of a fatherly something there, but it's really nothing. Like, it's very hollow inside. That was very dynamic character arc at the end, because you don't know in the beginning, like, he's very perverted, he's off-putting, but then you see how when Matt Damon is younger, there's a little bit of a bond there, right? And it, like I said, it's like more father-son kind of bond. You see, none of that really matters to him. Like, he does this all the time. He manipulates people all the time to do his bidding. Yeah. And it's more so about that.
Well, one of the things I love most about how the movie concludes is that he realizes that Costello was an informant for the FBI.
Yeah.
And that's why he basically gets him killed and captured, because he's just like, screw this. And, you know, more than anything, I think this movie's about identity and knowing yourself and trying to keep split identity. I mean, it's all about self-deception, of course, like that's in the text of the movie. But Matt Damon's character, it's like he's suddenly realizes, and you can see him because he's thinking like, maybe I could just start over a new city. He's talking to his girlfriend. Maybe I could just leave and get rid of all of this. And then basically he's deciding like, I'll just become cop full time. Like, I'll just like be done with this side of me. But that doesn't work out, just as it doesn't work out for Leo when he wants to be done with it all. But in a sense, Leo almost has the most triumphant ending, because he gets his identity back, because that's what he was always worried about. Like, only two people on the force know who he really is. They have his records. And then Matt Damon deletes it. But he ends up getting his, his honors and all of the cop funeral and all that. So something to mention, this movie is a remake of a movie called Infernal Affairs.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen that, but I've heard it's very good. This movie won Best Picture in 2006, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
It also won Best Director. It was the first Best Director Oscar for Martin Scorsese, who had been nominated many times, but this is his first and only Best Director win.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of people consider this minor Scorsese. They're like, it's not his best work, It's like there's other stuff that's more serious. And I think it's kind of a snobbishness that some people have because I feel like this movie is maximum pulp. Like elevated pulp story. Like it's just real cops and robbers. I don't know, classic like thrill ride. But it has a lot of depth to it. And I think people are missing out on so much depth that like the relationship that Vera Farmiga, who's the girlfriend of Matt Damon, the therapist, that relationship she has between Leo and Matt Damon, it's kind of like the anchor throughout the entire movie. It keeps things grounded where it could just be so superficial. But I noticed watching this recently, like we're moving along in the plot. Everything's so dynamic. We're just going scene to scene to scene. It's like different scenes are cut within each other. So it has a sense of like constant pace and momentum. Dialogue is fractured and it's so effective. But then it gets to a point where, okay, how is Leo feeling about this? And that whole therapist scene is probably like one of the most important parts of the movie. Like the exposition is just like
the
boom.
pacing is like, and everything is perfect on the beat, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you rate it?
Oh,
as a rewatch, at least.
After watching it again, because I've seen this movie so many times, but I got to see it through your eyes this time, which was so fun. I'd give it like a 10 out of 10 because
wow, okay.
It's just so damn good. And I think people underrate The Departed somewhat. Man, it's just got so much there. It's just fun on top of that too. It has a sense of humor that's like, there's this darkness to it, but it really is just kind of gleefully a thrill ride. And I just really love what it does.
Yeah, I think I agree. I want to leave on one last comment is that I really found it interesting how the therapist and like Matt Damon, he's like, if you find a reason to leave, you should just leave because I'll stay.
I'm Irish. I'll just deal with it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's good to know. Like you're staying with her because you're like just used to it, but you don't like change. But we never get to find out what happens with the baby or anything else. But I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end, and I think that's kind of the point. Yeah, is that they're all dead, and
except for Mark Wahlberg,
which I really loved his character dynamic. I could go on forever, but it's interesting because he had a misjudgment about Matt Damon's character and Leonardo DiCaprio's character. He thought, like the therapist, he thought the good one was bad one was good, kind of thing. All right, well, that's basically our thoughts on this film. Let us know what you think.
Thank you for watching.
And, if you recommend what other movie from Scorsese that you recommend I watch next.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.